So I just was in touch with Patrick last night. He did not have the opportunity to write anything directly to you all, but he sent me two things that he wanted me to read to you. And the first is a reflection that he wrote on the 5th day of a fast that Kathy Kelly and Patrick and a few other people did down in Georgia. And then the second is an interesting response from the priest in Kings Bay. So I'll just read this, and if you want to look at it later, I have a copy. If you want to ask me questions about it later, we can do that after the workshop. So this is day 5, which was the final day of the fast. St. Mary's, Georgia has a secret. When the Kings Bay plowshares decided to smash idols and beat swords into plowshares at the Kings Bay Naval Base in St. Mary's, Georgia, we assumed there would be lots of people in that community and surrounding towns and cities who were appalled to live in the shadow of the most insidious weapons system ever built by humans, Trident submarines armed with D5 missiles. To our surprise, the folks in South Georgia and North Florida are actually filled with pride because this weapons system of mass destruction is part of the landscape where they live. They are essentially oblivious to the fact their economy and livelihoods are predicated on a promise to end life as we know it on planet Earth. In fact, the Trident system includes enough explosive power to kill almost twice the Earth's population. And that's just one of the Pentagon's vast array of nuclear weapons systems. It has been surprising to me that few locals share our view that planning the end of the world, that's what Trident represents, is a bad idea. Perhaps that's why it was a good idea for the 7 of us Catholic Christians to come to this Southern Beach community to offer an alternative view of Trident and the threat it poses to humanity and all creation. My hope is our action might make people reflect on the insanity of Trident. Today was the 5th and final day of our Hunger for Nuclear Disarmament fast. The 6 of us, Ken Jones of Asheville, North Carolina, Kathy Kelly of Chicago, Beth Brockman of Durham, North Carolina, Steve Baggerly of Norfolk, Virginia, and Robert Randall, who lives near the Trident base, and Patrick, have used our time together to pray, plan, and build community for the work ahead. We are grateful for the hospitality provided by a few local people, including Father Bob Cushing, pastor of St. Joseph's Catholic Church. We are also grateful for the gracious hospitality and support of another 2 people. Each day here for the fast included a public witness, 3 times at the Kings Bay Naval Base, once at the Glynn County Jail, where 4 of their co-defendants were still being incarcerated. Now Claire is out, but there are still 3 in Glynn County Jail. And once at the Brunswick Federal Building, where our trial will be held. We also painted peace rocks and hid them in St. Mary's for people to find. Because Patrick is under house arrest, he chose not to join the daily witnesses. He did other means of support and met with 3 of the lawyers while there. On Wednesday night, they had a gathering of 14 led by lawyers Bill Quigley from Loyola University Law School in New Orleans and Jason Clark, a local Brunswick Glynn County defense lawyer. They held a roundtable discussion about their case at the Unitarian Universalist of Coastal Georgia Fellowship, which gratefully hosted them. Patrick writes, "Since I have entered into this plowshares process as an expression of my faith and my belief in the nonviolent Jesus, I try not to get too caught up in efficacy. I recall this quote from Mahatma Gandhi. Whatever you do will be insignificant, but it is very important that you do it. Our numbers may be few in this work to save the world from nuclear destruction, but our spirits are strong, our hearts are steadfast, and love is our measure. Like all of you reading this reflection, I dream of a better, brighter, disarmed world in our future, a world where our children and grandchildren will not have to face the prospect of nuclear war. First, we disarm our hearts, and then we disarm our weapons. And finally, Let's disarm our world. And Patrick wanted me to read one other thing to you. So, I don't know if any of you know Eric Martin in Charlottesville, Virginia. He's the author of the Berrigan Letters, which was recently published, and he visited the Plowshares folks in jail, but he also asked the local priest, who's a Polish man, younger Polish man, to visit. So that man's name is Father Maurice, and he had previously preached against the Plowshares action in his Catholic church in St. Mary's, Georgia, which overlooks the Trident Base. He listened to the four men, Patrick, Steve, Mark, and Carmen, for 30 minutes during a pastoral visit, and he was transformed. So he wrote this letter to Eric. Hello, Eric. It was true pleasure to spend some time with those brave souls. I had the opportunity to ask them some questions to help me understand more. It's hard not to agree with their arguments against nuclear weapons and all the consequences of maintaining it and their need to do something about it, even though all that effort to so many, me included, seems like the Don Quixote fight the windmills. But once again, God's wisdom proves over and over again that not so much physical strength as faith in God makes the impossible possible, the fight of David and Goliath. I'm praying for the positive outcome of all the trials they have to go through, and I hope they will be set free. They are good people who are very passionate about the civil rights. God bless you, and once again, thank you. So Father Maurice went in and had a communion service with the four men. He didn't talk to them, they just had a communion service. And the men knew that he was not in support of their action. And when he finished, he said, look, all these people in St. Mary's want me to explain why you 7 Catholics did this, and I don't know what to tell them. And then he sat and listened for 30 minutes. And when they were done, he got it. So the men felt that was really a wonderful opportunity to explain to someone who really didn't get it. And the Holy Spirit was present and explained it in a way that now he gets it.